So the ACC is on board with a 24-team college football playoff expansion, and honestly, this could be a lot of fun for this one particular reason.
You're talking ball with the ACC Squad. From Florida State to North Carolina, from Syracuse to Miami, and from NC State to California, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming ACC weekend. Hang on, it could get loud, it could get heated, and it will definitely be fun. Squad up, you're part of the ACC Squad.
Let's have some fun today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ACC Squad show, Locked On ACC on the Locked On Podcast Network. Coming up on the show today as well, who's the most slept-on quarterback in the ACC heading into this season? Plus, income rules and, I guess, a salary cap enforcement is going pretty poorly. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But Grayson Singleton here, Kenta Gibbs, Locked On Wolfpack, Jarvis Davis, Locked On Yellow Jackets. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, I'm chilling. Kenta, what's up?
I'm great as always, man. I'm ready to get into it because we got some things we need to discuss today. And I'm gonna tell you, you might hear me say CJ Bailey name more than a few times today. Nah, I'm joking. I'm leaving homerism at home, y'all. But I'm excited to be here with you fellas.
Hey, let's get it done today. Hey, I want to start off with this 24-team playoff thing because the ACC is now endorsing the 24-team playoff expansion that we've been seeing floated around for a while. And while all of us, we agree that in principle it's a bad idea to have a 24-team college football playoff. However, this could be fun. And I'm going to float this by you guys and see what you think about this. So the SEC and the Big Ten want to keep this a constricted playoff because likely they're going to get about 85% of the teams that are involved. But if you let more of these ACC teams in, maybe more of these Big 12 teams too, we have a chance for some fun here, some chaos, because in a one-game scenario, you look at a Miami team that just went to the national championship. Who's to say some of these other ACC teams couldn't upset the apple cart, and all of a sudden, you could probably get the SEC pissed off because one of their teams just lost to the lowly ACC. So while I still think this is a pretty bad idea, this could be a lot of fun, though.
I mean, I 1,000% agree, and we saw it last year. Like, this ain't even about the ACC. If you're talking about the SEC and what they did last year, just out of curiosity, fellas, how many wins did the SEC have against teams that were not other SEC teams or group of five teams? So any team that an SEC team beat in the playoff that was in the Power Four and not SEC, go for it, fellas. Who they beat? Anybody got an answer? Anybody want to guess?
Big old goose egg, huh?
Yeah. Nothing. They ain't beat nobody. Yeah. And for as much as everybody talked about, oh, Miami lost to two ACC schools, too lowly. Oh, they lost, Louisville beat them, and SMU beat them. Oh, they're a terrible team. They can't be nothing decent. How did Texas A&M fare against them? The Texas A&M that ran through the SEC until they played Texas? How'd that work out for them? How'd that work? Oh, Ole Miss. That's the team, right? Because, Texas A&M, their quarterback can't really throw the ball and all that. Okay, fine. Let's go to Ole Miss then, and Ole Miss is having a very interesting time right now. Them and LSU having a good old-fashioned clan off right now on Twitter, but that's neither here nor there. that team, that's Spider-Man me for sure. Prolific. They ready. They was going to dominate poor little Miami. Miami was the underdog in that game, I do believe. And how'd that game end up for Ole Miss? Did they win that ball game? Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing is this bears out. You could talk about all the other bowl games and say, oh, well, Virginia only beat Mizzou because Mizzou had all these opt-outs and they didn't care, and this was Virginia's best year ever. Did Ole Miss not care? Did Texas A&M not care? Did all of these schools, did Bama not care when they were playing Indiana? I need to know. I need to know who cares and who doesn't and when they care, because when you line it up, all of a sudden you see different results than as Lane Kiffin said, let the odds makers make the playoff. Well, hell, the odds makers would have lost a lot of money, wouldn't they? So again, ultimately, I'm a big fan of lining it up. And Grayson, if we extend the 24 and we get more ACC teams in there, we got a better chance then, well, Louisville can't compete just because they can't compete. Why can't they? Isaac Brown runs so fast, he makes Speedy Gonzalez look slow. Isaac Brown runs so fast, I just know that he could blink. That he could cut off the light and be in the bed before it get dark in that room. I know he that fast. But we're going to sit here and pretend like, oh, we can't compete with the SEC. For what?
I think, man, when you look at it like this, man, I think this 2014 playoff, albeit I'm not necessarily a big fan of it or a big proponent of it, because I'm real big on, hey, man, it's a small private club and only certain people can get in. I'm a big proponent of that. But if you open this bad boy up, I think it's going to start to change some narratives, right? Because I think the one narrative that has changed, and I believe that's a big reason why Nick Saban got out of the business. Like it's even almost an even playing ground now. It's everybody's fair game now because hey, everything is above board. You can pass around if you got the bag, if you got a NIL collective that's willing and ready to pay, they'll be willing to go to Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah,
they'll be willing to hop on the bird and go to Texas or whatever, outside of them being moving into the SEC. So when you have the playing grounds kind of like evened out a little bit, and you can't stack doggone 3 or 4 deep NFL prospects, like legitimate NFL prospects. It was like a conveyor belt at Alabama back in the day. Like all I gotta do is just wait my turn. As soon as I get my 1 year starting, I'm going first round. Like it was literally like that. Kirby Smart, all that. Yeah, he got to understand it too now. It's not, the game is different. And he's starting to try to play it how he used to play it, but like these guys have to adjust. So I think that this 2014 playoff opening up is going to change the whole, the SEC, everybody, they got to come through the SEC. Nah, man. Like the Big Ten got something to say now too.
Well, look at who Ohio State lost to in the college football playoff. That was Miami too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Lord knows their willingness, and they got all the money. They willing to spend it all.
Listen, ain't nothing in the state of Ohio but big girls and Buckeyes. That's all the money that they got is going to making sure that Ohio State is a winning football team, because there's nothing else there of any substance that you would ever. Let me tell you, people talk about, am I upset about the college football playoff expanding? No, I'm more mad about the NCAA tournament expanding. You want to know why? Because that means more teams got to go to Dayton. Anytime you're telling more young men go to Ohio, you're the villain. You're the bad guy in the story. You are not the good guy.
Hey, well, first of all, I want to know first of all, two things. Number one, the states of Louisiana and Mississippi fighting over who's less racist is hilarious. Number two, what the hell do you have against Ohio, bro?
Oh, I'm a Detroiter. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, brother. We hate the folk.
As someone, I hate to play big brother on this one. As someone who spent some time in Cincinnati, Ohio, I was up there for a summer, and I will regret to inform you that I ain't seen that many big women, especially from Cincinnati and specifically from Columbus.
I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you didn't, because there ain't many people there. Period. It ain't many people there at all. You ain't seen many people there at all. But again, times have changed. When you was up there for that summer, I'm guessing you was way younger. Them backs done got way wider with the invention of the air fryer and modern technology that finally got to Ohio decades after it got to the rest of the world.
What you're saying is the Skyline chili started to expand.
I'm going to say that Skyline chili got a little too good.
Yeah, they put chili on everything. They said there was chili on cinnamon rolls up there. I said, what type of big back butt on? They keep forgetting, bro. On TikTok, they keep asking who gonna be the boys, who gonna be the girls. I keep asking who gonna have the toes, who gonna have fully functioning feet at the end of this, because diabetes, they're gonna be calling you Sugarfoot for real. But on a different, back to the sports related part of this,
back on track, KG.
Again, I look at the NCAA, I look at the college football playoff expanding, and I say I don't want it either. But if it's going to happen, I 1,000% agree with you, Grayson. There will be more upsets from the ACC. There will be more ACC teams that prove our mettle nationally.
Right. And because when you expand and you, especially in a sport like football, where it's a single elimination tournament, when you expand, you're adding more games, which means you're adding more opportunity for chaos, which will it possibly diminish the interest in your product when you get to the Final Four? Okay, maybe. But if you're looking at it from an ACC or even a Big 12 perspective here, that's more opportunity for us to cause some problems. So just it's basic percentages and law of averages here that something is going to happen, whether it's Miami, whether it's a Louisville potentially, whether it's an SMU who, let me tell y'all, SMU is built more like a Power 4 team coming into this year than they have been since the days of the Pony Express. So the possibilities are endless if you let more and more of those teams in. Clemson ain't going to be down forever. Florida State will get its act together at some point, hopefully before I turn 30 in 6 years. But it's going to happen where if you just invite more and more opportunity, things like this will come up and bite you in the rear end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, you just looking at the final top 25, just scrolling. Like, I know I hate to sound a little biased in a one-game scenario. You know what I mean? Tell me that Haynes King couldn't have upset somebody, went on a heater and upset somebody.
And mind you, the team that everybody was arguing, well, do they belong in, was Texas. I have no doubt in my mind and in my heart that Texas would have gotten all they could handle and maybe lost a game to Georgia Tech last year. That's not a doubt in my mind.
1,000%. So yeah, man, I think open it up. When you open it up, you open up a can of worms. Like there are going to be some teams that are going to get in and expose the whole, the mighty powers that be. Nobody can compete with them. Nah, yeah, I hear you. Like the 1 and the 2, essentially, yeah, those guys are probably going to get those dubs. But when you talk about getting the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, like if you open that bad boy, those guys can and will get knocked off.
The funniest part of all this is that SEC country, and I live in it, SEC country is already incredibly pissed off because they haven't even played for a national championship in the last 3 seasons. That's the first time that's happened since right before I was born, I believe. That was a quarter century ago. If they start losing in playoff games to Big 12 or ACC teams, our lives are going to get really, really fun watching the reaction to that.
It's glorious.
Well, you know what though, and this is the best. This is the best part about that, to watch them melt down in real time, to watch Cam Newton say, "Oh, you got the great Auburn," and even if y'all are better than us, who wants to watch it? Well, thank you for telling us you're not here for good football. Thank you for telling us, hey, you're here for the names and not the actual ball. I'm here for ball. I don't care who you are. Texas Tech is good now? Great. I love to see it. Miami has finally risen up from all those years down? Great. I love to see it. SMU, free Sherwood Blunt. Y'all still need to free my dog. But SMU is good again? Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yeah, let's do it. I don't understand this idea that college football is bound to certain teams being good. I grew up one of the biggest Michigan fans in the world. I'm not bound to Michigan has to be good. Even if they're not good, I don't want to watch no college football. Why? For what? That I root for them because a lot of cast technicians go there, but I'm not about to sit up here and say, oh man, I don't want to see nothing if it ain't the old powers that be. Nah, stop that. It's a new game. It's a new breed. It's a new day. Indiana is our damn defending national champion.
Right.
16-0. 16-0.
First one.
Indiana.
First one.
Yeah. And I'll give y'all this NBA analogy. I know we got to take a break, but NBA analogy here. I'm just a fan of basketball. I didn't mind one bit that the NBA Finals last year was Oklahoma City versus Indiana. I'm still going to tap in. I'm still going to tap in if the national championship is between Georgia Tech and let's just say Texas Tech, for instance. I'm still going to watch. A bunch of people that hate watch college football may not. I'm still going to be there. Why? Because I'm a fan of ball.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Coming up next here on the ACC Squad show, just getting started here, Grayson, Kenton, and Jarvis. Who's the most slept-on quarterback in the ACC? And Kenton will tell you why it's C.J. Bailey. Coming up next. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, and location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check these boxes. It's less stress, less time, with more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. All right, welcome back. ACC Squad here on a Thursday. Grayson Singleton, Kenton Gibbs, and Jarvis Davis here with you. Okay, so we, in our think tank earlier today, we came up with who's the most slept on quarterback in the ACC. So I want us to do this. I'm not going to go with Kevin Jennings, even though there's an argument for it, because I host Locked On SMU. Kenton, I hope you'll go with somebody not named CJ Bailey, because you host Locked On Wolfpack, and then Jarvis, the same for you. But if we had to divert from our teams, which there's certainly arguments to be made for each of our teams' quarterbacks, SMU, NC State, and Georgia Tech, who would you go with as the most slept-on quarterback in the ACC coming into this season?
First of all, I found this question offensive. I wasn't actually going to go with CJ Bailey. Come on,
no,
man.
I was actually just being funny.
But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to show a group some love, and it's not just because they're very interactive online. It's not just because we all love the algorithm. JKS is freak show stuff. Yeah. That young man was a freshman last year. And do you know how many quarterbacks in this conference had more yards than him and less interceptions? Take a wild guess.
None.
One, Darian Minton. That's it. That's it. Nobody else had more yards and less turnovers than him. He is a guy that I really look at him and I say he can make every throw, and he doesn't struggle with the consistency of the underneath stuff either. Now, with him, you would look at him and say, hey, you need to get more comfortable. You need to get a bit more settled in. Sometimes I got to stand in there and take that hit because he does have a tendency to use his mobility in the backfield to kind of bail out sometimes. And it's like, dude, the window's there. Just hold on for just one more second. Take that hit and deliver it. But I think that he truly has some freak show stuff to him. And he's one of those guys that he has a superpower and he doesn't have the negative downside to it. Normally, guys like him that have that tendency to hold on to the ball and make guys miss in the backfield and all that, they normally tend to have some just terrible boneheaded turnovers. Not him. And mind you, he was a true freshman last year. He was a true freshman. You know, this is a kid that was slow dancing at prom not too long ago and did a great job with Cal last year. He's losing his top receiver. He's losing Kendrick Raphael and all that. But I think that he is talented enough. He is good enough that him plus Lapoy could spell danger for a lot of the ACC.
Yeah, I think when you look at what Tosh Lapoy is as a head coach, now I'm not buying him as a head coach. That's just me, because I, had some experience when he was an assistant down here with Atlanta Falcons, and that just didn't rub me the right way. So I'm waiting to see. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
The Falcons rub anybody the right way, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah, pause, all that stuff. But yeah, I don't, But when you talk about him being a head coach and being able to get JKS to continue to evolve, that's what I question. That's what I'm looking to see. But yeah, just from a talent perspective, though, yeah, that dude is one talented cat. And one thing about Tosh Lapoy, he can recruit. He can recruit his butt off. So I'm not surprised he was able to retain him. I think that was like job number one. I wouldn't be surprised he jumped on a private jet in the middle of the night to go, as soon as he got hired, to go, hey, go get JKS and figure out what it's going to take for him to stick around. But yeah, but for me though, when I think about, quarterbacks outside of the one that plays for the team that I cover, I got to look at a guy like Mason Heintschel for Pitt. That Like he was one of those dudes because Pat Narduzzi decided to go towards him last year, benching Eli Holstein, and that was a pretty big deal up there in the state of Pennsylvania when that went down, and Mason Heintschel made him look like one of those dudes, like please 73% of his passes, and he just went slap off, and I think that he continued to ride that wave, and when it came down to Bobby Dodd and had the white out and everybody was all amped up, all you got to do is just get this win. You going to Charlotte, baby, everything all good. Mason Heintschel said, nah. But so, yeah, I think that Mason Heintschel is a guy that definitely the conference. I know I got my eye on him and keep an eye on him as far as the conference goes, but I think nationally he is definitely being slept on for sure.
And I'll tell you one thing about Mason Heintschel. I love his offensive coordinator, K. Bell. I think that he's one of the rising stars in the coaching ranks. He was originally under his father, Kerwin Bell, at Western Carolina, and they lit it up. They lit the world on fire out there, and I knew that he was going to do great things at Pitt. But to see the way that they have worked with Mason Heintschel and kind of turned him from a more unheralded guy into a year one impact player. Sure. A year one guy that, as much as I love JKS, guess who had the higher QB rating between Heintschel and JKS in terms of true freshmen in the ACC? So Mason Heintschel definitely deserves more flowers than he's getting. I don't know why Pitt can't have quarterback continuity ever since Kenny Pickett left. I don't know what's going on there, but maybe K. Bell and Heintschel are the combo to make it happen.
Well, a lot of what goes to that is poor evaluations too. And, sometimes you can think a guy's one thing and he's really not, and then he doesn't end up developing. So I think that plays a part into why you're playing quarterback roulette for the last couple of years up there at Pitt. Mason Heintschel was going to be my number 2. I'll make the argument for you, Kenton, about CJ Bailey, because I think he's the one that I look at and I say, this dude's not getting enough fanfare, and it's likely because he's at NC State. Kenton, I know I'm not breaking news to you, but Jarvis and to anybody else listening, this is NC State's schedule this year. Virginia, Richmond, Vanderbilt, App State, Louisville, Wake Forest, Stanford, Cal, Duke, Syracuse, Florida State, and North Carolina. They don't have a lot of teams on the schedule that are going to put them into a spotlight matchup. So we're just always by default going to forget about CJ Bailey. But this was a dude last year who's 6'6", 210 pounds, and can move, and at a touchdown to interception ratio of 25-9. This dude's a real baller, and if he continues to showcase the ability that he showcased last year in a quarterback-rich NFL draft in 2027, this dude could be one of those risers because he's going to test well. In addition to if he puts up solid numbers, we're just going to forget about it because they don't have a game against Miami. They don't have a game against Clemson. They don't play, maybe even an SMU. They play Louisville. Okay, that's a good one, but that's your best matchup. And we don't even know about their quarterback. So I think he's going to be one of the more forgotten names unless you're consistently watching college football from kickoff to after dark on a Saturday.
Wow, I could not agree more. I agree. This Grayson kid, he's on to something, Jarvis. You did a great job in finding him. Let me tell you something, man. CJ Bailey is definitely going to be one of those guys next year. And the crazy part about it is when you look at how NC State has been structured these past 2 years, he's kind of had to be that. He's kind of had to – they haven't had defenses, which is kind of odd under Doran. And, it's strange to say, but Tony Gibson ain't walking through that door. He was a wonderful defensive coordinator while he was at NC State, but now second most yards allowed in the ACC last year, and I still believe they won 8 or 9 games last year. That is wildly impressive. And Grayson, I'm gonna need you to stop talking about NC State players because Vegas opened up the odds, the under/over on NC State for this year at 6.5. It's already jumped an entire game. So there's a lot of smart money going around saying
you're still trying to get that best price on that over, aren't you?
Hey, listen. Me and Brandon Swords be the same type of guy. You know what I mean? If you get a call from me in the middle of the night saying I got a hot tip on Turkish basketball, just know it's legit. I'm joking. Don't gamble like that. Don't be degenerates. Don't y'all do it. But in all seriousness, I think that CJ Bailey is primed for a really good time. I mean, this is his 3rd year with the same coaches. How often do we say that in college football, right? Like, granted, the offensive coordinator changed, but he got the quarterback coach who was already there with him to become his offensive coordinator. So that's a very good continuity. And that was from 2 years ago to last year. This year, you're keeping the same offensive coordinator, same head coach, same quarterback for 2 years in a row. And as strange as it sounds, in college football today, that is a rarity. So I expect big things out of CJ Bailey this year.
Yeah, man. And kind of just to third what you always said. Like, I never forget in the second half of that game, that man was on one leg against Tech. Yeah. One leg. And he was
still putting work.
Just slinging it. Sitting back there, reading the newspaper, throwing the ball all over the yard, handing it off to Isaac Brown and all in Hollywood. Yeah, man, it just wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all.
Hollywood was hurt that game. It was Duke Scott went for 200.
200. Yes, there we go. Yeah, he went for 200. Duke. Yeah,
hey, listen, that's my guy. I ain't been that excited about the Duke since Stevie Wonder dropped that song way back when. All right, so it was a hell of a game. But no, in all seriousness, CJ Bailey has that ability that to improvise that you would say only 10 guys in America can make this play. He also has those boneheaded moments where you're like, only 10 guys in America would be so silly as to make that play. If he can eliminate that downside, if he can eliminate that, the thing that I said JKS doesn't have where he just holds on to the ball for too long and does that. If CJ Bailey could get rid of that bit of indecision and be a little bit more decisive in his decision-making and have moments where he's like, you know what, the best thing I can do right now, chuck this ball into the stands, give some kid a souvenir, let's grow next down. I think that he's going to be fantastic. And if NC State's defense can stop anybody, could be a special year in Raleigh.
Let me ask you guys this, because it seems like the wild card at quarterback in the ACC is the new Louisville quarterback, Lincoln Kienholz. Hadn't really played much of college football at his time at Ohio State. Got leapfrogged by Julius Say. I mean,
really
wait. No, I mean, let's be real. Like, there are some people that think Lincoln Kienholz is going to be really good. I am not one of them because I genuinely don't know a single thing about this dude.
See, this is my problem, man. Like, this goes back to the whole narrative. Oh, just because he was recruited by Ohio State and he had a certain ranking, yeah, we should respect that. And he's the next, Joe Burrow and all this stuff. Like, no, man, like, it's a reason why that man didn't play over there. Like, that has to be taken into consideration.
Well, yeah, but that's why I said he's a wild card, because we don't necessarily know. Like, he could end up being pretty decent with Jeff Brom's coaching staff and the way they run their offense, and he just got passed up or beat out at Ohio State. That's possible. Or Ohio State could have been right and the dude just sucks. Like, we don't know a single thing. There's no piece of information that would lead you to know literally nothing about Lincoln Kienholz right now.
If there's anything working for Lincoln Kienholz, it's who his coach is, right? In the same measure that I mentioned Cade Bell, you've got the quarterback whisperer supreme in Brian Brown. When a quarterback's career is dead, when it's in the graveyard, when somebody is reading the eulogy, all you got to do is put his body, the body of his career, on Coach Brom's steps, and he turns into the Lazarus pit. You're going to come back out fresh and new. Remember when people said Miller Moss wasn't going to be nothing, that they were done with him, he was terrible, and he can't do nothing, he can't play for Lincoln Riley, that's not it. He turned him into a good-looking starting quarterback. Remember Plummer? Jack Plummer took that team to an ACC championship game. But if there's anybody, if I knew my son couldn't play a lick of quarterback and they said, Ken, you got to send him to some ACC school, come on down to Louisville, Kentucky, okay? What's the area code? The 502? Send the boy to the 502. He'll be just fine in the Papa John's Stadium. I know they renamed it, but his mama named it Papa John's. I'm going to call it Papa John's Stadium. So, yeah, send him on down there and we'll get him right because, again, Brom and his brother do a heck of a job with those quarterbacks. They do a heck of a job with those offenses. And he has what is very likely, first of all, without a doubt, the best big play hitting running back in the ACC, maybe even the nation in Isaac Brown. But he has what could be potentially the best overall back.
Hold on now, Kim. Hold on now.
I was going to say, Georgia Tech just got Justice Haynes.
You think Justice Haynes is a better big play threat than Isaac Brown? Isaac Brown was hobbled and hurt for half of last year. How many yards do you think he averaged per carry when he was healthy? Oh, by the way, when I say when he was healthy, I don't mean like the games where he was healthy. I mean the entire season when he played. How many yards do you think he averaged per carry while the injury situation was going on?
What, like 7?
Justice Haynes before he got hurt, 7. He was averaging 7 yards and led the Big Ten in yards per carry.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Haynes ain't a hell of a back. I don't know what it is.
I'm saying you just said it too. You had too much fervor in your throat.
Oh,
you know
I know it.
You did a little bit too much confidence, my brother.
When it comes to,
I say, hold on now.
I have watched way more ACC football than the average bear. Okay, I've seen all these backs do it, and I've watched a good amount of Michigan football because, of course, again, my cast technicians go there. Cast Tech #1, second to none. You know how that go. But I am telling you, I like Justice Haynes. I think he's fantastic.
Sure.
Isaac is on another level. He makes fast guys look slow. He makes everybody.
You just said it too confidently. That's all.
And I'm always gonna be confident behind that.
I'm saying. I had to kind of like make sure that I gave you the inside hand. I just had to give you the inside hand. Just pop your chest a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's all I had to do. I just had to replace.
In the words of Mary J. Blige, don't bring no hateration or holleration into this dancery. It is. I think that Justice Haynes is fantastic, but Isaac Brown, in terms of big playability, in terms of the ability to hey, any moment when he touches it, packing the mail is gone. Oh, he's second to none. Again, in the ACC for sure. In the nation, I'm like, you might be able to convince me, but no player in the nation had 100 carries and 8 yards or more except him. He's it.
He's a fantastic back. When you talk about Heisman candidate potential, that depends on how Lincoln County host plays and what their record looks like at the end of the year with Louisville and all that stuff. But yeah, he's up there, man, for sure. But hey, it's somebody down here in Atlanta too. They got something to say about that as well.
Here we go with the South got something to say. See, this is it. Every time Atlanta feel like they getting ignored, somebody go grab the mic. The South got something to say.
Well, stop. Hang on now, kids. It's Atlanta. Nobody ever ignores Atlanta.
Well, no. I'm just saying, every time Atlanta feel like they getting ignored, they gonna tell you the South got something to say. We gotta say something. It's too much. God, it's too much. But again, Isaac Brown. Oh, and by the way, I was undershooting it when I said 8 yards. He was averaging 8.8 on over 100 carries last year. The young man, every time he touched the ball, it was a first down damn near. And you're telling me that he has an equal in terms of big play capability?
I'm just saying slow your roll, bro. That's it. That's it, baby.
Tell him start drug testing the hosts. I'm gonna tell him start drug testing these hosts. They just getting on your airways and say whatever. And Mr. Locke,
you gonna wait till we do the BET version of the ACC Squad to say something like that.
This has to be. Look. It already was, but from what's coming out of our mouths today, this has to be the blackest Locked On show that we have ever had in our in the entire history of this company.
Mr. Locke, I was joking. I don't believe that Jarvis is good. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I believe he's sober. I just think he's wrong. I just think he's very wrong.
Oh man, coming up next on Locked On ACC. These income enforcement rules and a proposed salary cap is going absolutely poorly, and to the point where the Big 12 is telling the SEC and the Big 10 to just go ahead and leave and do your own thing. This is terrible, man. We'll be right back. ACC Squad here on this Thursday this week. Grayson Singleton from Locked On SMU, Kenton Gibbs, Locked On Wolfpack, and Jarvis Davis from Locked On Yellow Jackets with Georgia Tech. And I came across this earlier today, boys. So the clearinghouse that is supposed to regulate the NIL payments and stuff like this, I guess the Big Ten and the SEC are not following it to the point where one of the ADs in the Big 12, the AD for Iowa State, has said, hey, if they don't want to follow these rules that we all signed up for, hey, just go ahead and leave to the SEC and the Big Ten. Now, I think behind closed doors, the SEC and the Big Ten are saying, oh, yeah, we kind of actually would like to do, like to do that thing. But when it comes to enforcing these so-called salary caps, which, by the way, you shouldn't be able to do for a number of legal reasons, it seems like it's driving a rift between those two conferences and the other two conferences here in the ACC considered. So when you hear people encouraging the SEC and the Big Ten to break away, you think this is a good idea? You think it's a bad idea? Or this playing with fire with this Iowa State AD?
I mean, I get it. I don't. I'm confused on which side of the fence I fall on here, only because there will be a lot of cascading downriver effects that I don't think are being considered. Like, don't get me wrong. Am I of the ilk that follow the damn rules? The rules are set up as they are, follow them. And those rules aren't necessarily fair in the free market. I mean, it's if these players are not employees, if you don't have collective bargaining, if you don't have all of those things, you're going to run into stuff like this. That's just how this works. So I'm conflicted here because part of me is like, if y'all want to take y'all ball and go home, go for it. Like you just said, the SEC ain't played in the national championship in quite some time. As a matter of fact, the ACC has played in one much more recently than they have. But with that in mind, it's also like, do you want to see these rivalries go away? Do you want to see the Georgia Tech rivalries go away? Do you want to see the Clemson South Carolinas go away? Do you want to see those types of things, Florida State, Florida, Miami? Do you want to see those types of things go away? It's a very dicey territory, but I do always look at people a little sideways if it's like I'm taking my ball to go home. But it's for good reason if it's I'm taking my ball to go home because you're not going to allow me to pay my players what I have.
What's the consequences though? Like who gonna check me, boo? If I want to spend $30 million on my roster, like who gonna check me? So if we're in a space where like you don't have something that's collectively bargained, contract law that you have to follow, or the laws or rules or whatever the league will be called, if those conferences would walk away, then like what are we really talking about? And to be honest with you, like, are they getting return on their investment? Because look who just won the Natty. Indiana won at no $30 million. They went up there with the Ohio States of the world or whatever that number is, that's being thrown around. So yeah, like if there aren't any consequences, we're going to continue to remain in people complaining about, they not following the $20 million salary cap. Well, shoot, get these doggone boys in a union, these 18 to 25, 24-year-olds, and say, hey, man, y'all get y'all union together, and we're going to get our league and call it and get rid of the NCAA completely, and we're going to negotiate this thing and hash it out and come up with something that makes sense for everyone so everyone can follow the rules. Until then, it's going to be chaos, baby. Let's figure it out. Like wherever the money you can get it to bring it in to get a player that that gonna help you win ball game, do it, man. Because like this is all the NCAA's fault, right? Like they did not. They wanted to act like they were this nonprofit organization, and everybody getting fat cat TV contracts and. NCAA got 2 employees and all of them getting paid millions of dollars and they just sitting there chilling. They just pop up every now and then when a guy signed a jersey and sold it for $100, like AJ Green down there in Georgia. So like these are the consequences. These are the consequences of going that long without deciding to come up with some type of form of compensation. I mean, I know we're not talking about that now, like because I was a student athlete. I remember, like, I had to make $20 last for 2 weeks. Like, like that. And I'm not a little person. For those who sit here looking at us on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Like, it took a lot to feed me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Like the issue is not the SEC and Big Ten spending all the money they want to spend. These are the consequences of the NCAA ignoring common sense for so damn long. Yeah. Now they're reaping the consequence, and it's straight up chaos. And I love it. Until they figure it out, I'm gonna sit back and watch.
And by the way, nobody here has a problem with it one bit. I love the fact that the NCAA is being thrown into disarray. But you mentioned bargaining with the players, right? Ross Dellinger was on one of my radio shows here in Oklahoma about a couple of months ago, and he dropped this interesting factoid. If you're going to negotiate with the players, that means the players have to unionize. And what incentive do the players have to unionize right now?
Oh, they actually, well, hold on. They actually have a lot. Because every time that you look up and they're having these conversations about players' compensation, who's missing?
The players.
Who's not there?
The players.
When they're coming up with this Save America or Save College Sports Act and all this and all that, who's not at the table?
The employee, the de facto employees.
Sure.
And my grandmother was from the Motor City. She worked in the UAW for a long, long time. And she told me, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. If you are not there, when you are talking, when people are discussing your pay is going to get cut. Your pay is going to get docked. And that is why, yes, hypothetically, there is no reason for them to, come to the table and negotiate. But to me, it only works out that way if you're banking on the 1% outcomes. Because, yes, a Darian Mensah is going to get paid $8 million, $9 million, whatever the number is, $6 million, whatever it is, sure. A backup defensive tackle from Texas State is not. A backup left guard from East Carolina is not. And if y'all want just the same protections, y'all want to make sure that you are taken care of, there is a reason to come to that table and say, hey, this is our union. These are our demands. This is what we need in order to make this thing work out to where we will consider taking any cuts or anything like that.
But KG, let me throw this at you, and I think you're exactly right, though. But because they're not employees, this what the schools are running and the conferences are running into is that you can't artificially limit my earning potential because all I got to do is take you to court. Because if I'm essentially an independent contractor and I'm not your employee, then who are you to restrict what I can make? Who are you to put man-made caps on what I can make? They can more easily do that when they are employees and you're collectively bargaining with them. So as long as you're not employees, which, by the way, the NCAA's whole existence is built upon making sure these cats are not employees. So as long as they're not employees, they are almost legally able to make as much money as they want. Because if you are going to inhibit my earning potential, all I got to do is take you to court, say, hey, they're not my employer. So employment law and all that stuff, and antitrust exemptions too, doesn't really factor in.
And again, that's the that's the word of the law, right? That's how the law is written, right? What happens when you go to court and they interpret it a certain way that may not agree with you? Then what?
How often does that happen, though?
It hasn't happened very often, but this is what I'm saying. You can't live your life based off of, so far it has never happened, so it will never happen. If it goes to the highest court that there is, that is the Supreme Court. Now, again, we don't talk politics here. We talk sports here. However, if the president puts forth a ruling, a law saying, hey, you got a limit on how much you get paid, this is the hard limit, point blank period. We ain't going beyond this, right? You get a raise in your cap of 1%, 2%, 3% every year, whatever the case may be, right? If the president puts that in place, you sue, you lose, or you win, whoever, and y'all keep going back and forth. How likely is it for the highest court in the land to disagree with the president? With
the way it's presently constructed? Not very likely. Not very likely.
And guess what? You can't vote a Supreme Court judge out. You can't. Right. They gonna either give that seat up or they gonna die with that seat.
Right. And it's interesting. And it's interesting you bring that up because, did you guys see that the SCORE Act that has been trying to be pushed through Congress, that got ripped away from the voting agenda most recently. So, I know we don't talk politics on this show, but there's a lot of overlap between college sports and lawmakers right now. Yeah. And now with the midterms on the horizon being about to come up, all this could get really, really, really hairy to the point where, to bring it back around to college football, if you're trying to use congressional legislation to reel this whole thing in, that might have to be put on the table for a while, because we have no idea what the construction of the House and the Senate is going to be until we get through these midterms.
Yeah, man. Like that's why I'm on board with, man, get that money. Get your money, man.
Oh yeah, if you a player, get your money and get as much money as you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. Get your money. But again, I'm saying protect your opportunity to get your money by coming together collectively. Either you will bargain collectively or you will beg as individuals. Players do not know it yet, but the begging phase is right there. It's right there on the cusp, peeking around the corner. It got its top hat on saying, my crew, let's go. Because it's about to be on the move in a much quicker instance than we think. And again, I'm all for these players getting money. Grayson, you're right. As they're not employees, you're right. You can't cap them. You can't cap them. You also don't get the protections that employees have. When you get hurt, you don't get workers' compensation. Everybody that played in the defensive line room I was in, we all got something wrong with us. It varies. It's different degrees. It's some guys that
to the school's discretion as to whether or not they want to pay for your rehab.
Exactly. That's the type of stuff I'm saying where it's like, if you don't have these protections, you don't have these protections. And again, while the 1% will go out and get their millions and millions and millions, everybody on the roster with the 1%ers ain't making millions. That's just the way it is. I've heard, and I'm not going to say from who, I'm cool with many families that are, either all around college football, some in the ACC, some not. And one thing I will tell you is I have heard some of these deals that are coming out. Some of these guys, they're making life-changing money. Some of these guys, they're making year-changing money. They're making that's about the salary of the average American, maybe a little under.
Yeah.
Maybe a little under. Some guys I've heard of even lower than that.
Sure.
So again, if you're not protecting your ability to make money in a long-term sustainable fashion, I think the athletes are doing themselves a disservice.
And
Jarvis, last word.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, ultimately though, when it comes to collectively bargaining, you're not collectively bargaining for the present. You're collectively bargaining for the future, and it's gonna take some very level-headed thinking from these young men to say, "Hey, we need to go be able to go to the table for the man that's coming from behind, so he can benefit." And I don't know. In today's world right now, the way these numbers being thrown out, if it's a guy that's in that 7-figure range, I don't know if he coming to the table. He gonna be chilling.
Of course,
it's a resort level house that he was given. Darren.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when the NFL has to redo their collective bargaining agreements, where it's the top of the line players that are urging everybody to vote yes, but I mean, you get past the 10th, 15th highest paid player on the roster, those guys that are in the 40 to 53 range, they're the ones that are like, wait, no, we ain't trying to go for this. While JJ Watt and Von Miller and Kirk Cousins are up here telling us to do it.
They the face.
Exactly. They make good job money, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the NFL doesn't pay guys. I'm saying the guys in that 40 to 53 range, they make money as if they have a really good job, as if they
there's levels to this.
Exactly. The guys, the JJ Watts and all that, they made my kids don't have to work money. That's a different. If you are bargaining based on that 1% of guys, you're leaving the rest of that. Even if you say the top 50% of players in college football are all going to be set in terms of FBS, you're still leaving a large portion of guys out in the cold, right? And that's, what do you want to do with that? What do you want to bring back potentially 4-year scholarships and say it's no longer a 1-year renewable, whereas, hey, if you don't perform, we're going to get rid of you. But I'm not an employee. How can you get rid of me because I'm not performing if I'm not an employee? You could not pay me NIL, sure, but why would you get rid of me from the university if that's the case?
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Protect yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Indeed.
Yeah, real talk. All right, boys. Hey, man, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate all of you guys tapping in with us here on Locked On ACC, the ACC Squad Show this week. We'll do it all again next week. Make sure you check out Locked On SMU. Make sure you check out Locked On Wolfpack and Locked On Yellow Jackets as well. For Kenta Gibbs and Jarvis Davis, I'm Grayson Singleton. We'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.